everyone. My name is Michael, and welcome to the Worst Outtakes. This is episode 23, and today I'm not alone. I have a friend with
Yes,
me.
I'm here. I spoke over you. I'm here.
You
Whoa.
are here.
Yeah. No, this hasn't been the case in a while. I'm back. I'm here on an outtake.
He's back. And it's rare that I ever have a co host because of my conflicting times I do this. But anyway, how are you, good sir?
I am perfectly functional. I am ready to record. How are you? What is going on in your life?
I'm doing well, and not much, to be honest.
That's good to hear. Then let's go right into it.
Yes. In today's episode of The Worst Outtakes, we'll be discussing our group's favourite monsters. We took a while to
Yeah.
come together and talk about which ones we liked the most, and we've listed them here as well as a bit of lore and tidbits for you.
Yeah, because well, monsters are fun. Depending, I mean, you can use them for different plot points depending on who you are, what your plans are, and a lot of them, like if you really sort of, I mean, even just a read of their descriptions gives good ideas of ways you can use them. I definitely know that. I've spent a lot of time just opening random monster stat blocks and thinking, oh, I could theme an encounter around that. They're fun. They're cool.
It's definitely a good way to learn, especially what you're throwing your players up against, and maybe to add some stakes and involve some backstories. And as a fun
Indeed.
little bit of curiosity, how about in the comments you tell us what your favorite enemy is, whether that be through combat or lore or both? I'm genuinely interested to hear what your answers might be.
Yeah. Or if you're a player, tell us which one your favorite is to summon, I guess, because that's another big part of them. Well, uh, I guess technically fifth edition rather than 5.5 or 1D&D. I haven't really read the books on that. I think it's probably based off the Tasha's summoning.
True. Yeah, there's a lot of summoning spells
Yeah.
and tashas that just make the game really fun. However, with all that said, before we can continue with this interesting topic, we need to recap what happened in the last episode of The Worst Outcome.
That we do.
In the last episode, where we pick up from last time, we're still continuing our journey to the Starry Desert alongside Brian Goot, who has now rediscovered who he is and been cured of his brain injury from a chimera or Goot.
Indeed, and he's not happy about it.
Absolutely not. He wants to get smashed. He wants to drink to forget. Instead of doing so over the course of a month, he wants to do it in one.
Yeah. And that's an issue because we're in the middle of nowhere. So he wants to get places, we want to get places. It all works out quite nicely.
Indeed. We just so happened to come across a very small village on the borders of a forest. This forest was also home to some druids, I believe, or was that the last one?
Hard to say. But
Well,
yes, on our journeys we did encounter some druids that the mud seemed to get on with.
he's very much at one with nature and, love and life.
But yeah, it's not all been sunshine and rainbows on our travels because one night while everyone was sleeping, including the people who were meant to be on lookout, sorry guys.
Well, Nylan
Uh,
was awake. It's just that he was a bit distracted that Memel fell asleep next to him.
indeed. But yeah, so we got robbed by pixies. They took our money.
They tried their luck a second time, but unfortunately for them, they were caught and through an accidental use of a spell, everyone woke up and Mud slaughtered them horribly.
Yes, the pixies did not live to tell the tale, and we got our funds back, so that's a relief.
We also got a bit more than that because they'd stolen some other people's money as well.
Yes. I mean, surely we should have tracked down the original owners, but who's to say who they were or if they're even still alive?
It's true. But after the scuffle, we finally made it into the Starry Desert. It was a very nice description. I'd recommend going back to the episode to listen to it again. Memor decides to look for some tracks to see if he could find a way that people have been, which he does manage to find, and it leads us to a small little hamlet. And that's where the episode ended.
Yes. With I believe it was mentioned, a bizarre hot air balloon in the sky.
It was, yes, I remember that. It was quite bizarre. No one's never seen
Yeah.
anything like it.
Yes. All right. Now I think that about covers our previous episode.
Yep, that it does. Now we can move on to our group's favourite monsters. And, to kick us off, we'll start with my favourite monster.
Yes, you are the host after all.
My favorite monster in the monster manual is the Oni. I think I was going to call him a little guy. He's quite the opposite. He's very big. This big guy is very spooky. He is the equivalent of a magical ogre, and his eyes and teeth sort of like glow in the dark. He's a nocturnal predator mainly, but he can track in the day. I know I
Mm.
myself have used them quite a lot in campaigns, especially some of my more successful ones.
But yes, I remember. I think it was a particular Eberron campaign that we were attacked by one. We were floating around in a skyship, and it gaseous formed up or something and jumped us.
It, yes, well, it didn't gaseous form up. So you two needed a boat, and you stole a haunted one. The thing that was haunting it, however, was the Oni.
Oh yes, that checks out.
Yeah, but yeah, the Oni got absolutely destroyed. I will say, I didn't realize how strong you two had become at that point, and you trapped his gaseous form or part of his gaseous form in a jar.
Yeah, which I'm sure doesn't work with the actual rules, but oh well.
It was too funny at the time to say no.
Yeah.
But going into more about them, they are blue skinned and are often used as boogeymen in nursery rhymes and small little tales, which is really weird considering a lot of people know that they are in fact real. They like
I'm
to go
sorry.
invisible to sneak through houses and other such abodes. I just really like them. I think the application of a scary monster, especially as low CR as it is, you can throw it in as like a really early horror type thing. You could throw it in against weaker players because even if it's 4-on-1, it's still balanced because he doesn't really have his stat block doesn't have the capability of taking on multiple foes at once.
Yeah. What is their CR, just for posterity?
I'm fairly certain off the top of my head it's CR5.
Oh. But yeah, it's fun to have a spooky monster that you can use that isn't some weird undead or aberration. Because if I remember correctly, are they giants?
Also, I was wrong. It's CR7. And they are giants, yes.
Oh, so not necessarily the weakest.
Not the weakest, but like I said, they do struggle with bigger crowds, which makes sense. Like they're ambush hunters.
I mean, I'll admit CR doesn't tend to mean much.
Yeah,
A little peek I'm going to give behind the curtain of a very recent event. Well, in episode 20, we fought that big old. We fought the creature.
we did, yes.
That stat block was a slightly buffed up version of a bone claw, which I'm pretty sure is like CR13 or something.
CR12.
And yeah, so yeah, and then we pretty much beat that.
Yeah,
So at level 5, so it doesn't really mean much.
indeed. But I think that's all I need to say about my favorite monster in the monster manual. What would you rate it out of 10, Jay?
Ooh, I'd say I'd give it a solid 8 because they can be spooky, and I mean they're thinking beings, so they're like you can have one as an actual antagonist, especially in a lower level campaign. Yeah, and you could, or even not even if you have them as an antagonist, just like a short quest line you could base around one like a nursery rhyme or something based around the creature that is proving to be truer than it originally seemed. Stuff like that. That
Yeah.
they're quite versatile for their sort of creature.
Moving on to the next one, I'll let you take point on this one because this happens to be your favorite, Jay.
Oh yes, I forgot I had one of those. That's a lie. I didn't. I always knew that this is uh, one of my favorite creatures since the early days. It is the Azer. Yes, they're a sort of, well, they are an elemental native to a sort of, well, they live in this big old city mostly, sort of in a gap between the realm of fire and realm of earth. But that's not where they were originally from. Oh no, they originally made this big old place called the City of Brass.
They didn't make it by will, if I remember correctly.
They sort of made it for the Afriti and themselves to sort of coexist, but then the Afriti stabbed them in the back and started trying to enslave them. So that was nice.
Yeah, no, definitely some very nice hospitality there.
Yeah, so now they're little grumpy guys. They've got their own place, but yes, to actually give an idea of what they're like, they are pretty much dwarves made of brass. Or at least that's what they are on the outside. On the inside, they are a pure fire elemental. But yes, their physical bodies take the form of dwarves. They well, they're actually sort of built to be like that. You see, an Azer, they're not born. They're not from some weird primordial soup where elementals come from. No, an Azer will make the body of another one, put a bit of their internal fire into it to give it life.
A
So
very
each Azer is constructed, and that's why there aren't all that many of them.
Yeah, it's a very cool concept. I do really like that. Not to mention they just look amazing.
Yeah. And like the dwarves they base their appearance on, they are sort of master craftsmen. In fact, there was an interesting thing that I hadn't considered before. I saw in the description that people would summon them to craft great items. So if you're summoner, will have the conjure minor elemental spell because they're only CR2, surprisingly.
Yeah.
You just summon one and say, "Hey, can you? Here's the materials. I've got you for an hour. Can you start working on this sword, please?"
Also, very nice if you have an artificer in the party, the two of them can work together.
I don't know if artificers get the spell, but it'd be cool if they do. That'd be a fun little combo because
Yeah.
I'm always a fan of having like a summon that is your particular guy, and I think Azers can fit that quite well because they're not necessarily evil or anything, or I believe they're lawful neutral, but they've just sort of been mistreated, and yeah, they're fun. Like they are also quite versatile. You can have them as an ally if you're going through the planes of earth or the plane of fire. If you go around, you encounter like a settlement of them. There's a brief respite from everything bad going on if you're having that sort of adventure. Yeah, you could summon one. You could have them as an NPC, or if you truly felt violent and making use of their quite fun stat block, because you see if you hit them, they like fire bursts out of them because I mean you're just breaking part of the metal suit containing them.
So it's like Hellish Rebuke.
Yeah, like Hellish Rebuke, but not as a reaction. So just don't punch that guy. but
Noted.
but yeah, they can even make well, you can modify the stat blocks. Say make like one that's a leader or something. You can use them as an antagonist. Give them some magic items because they're good at making things. Give them a good reason to be up against the party. I mean, they've got a bit of a tragic past, and that can turn people in a dark way.
One
Yes,
moment.
just picture a whole big kingdom of guys going around declaring war, spreading fire, and crafting uh, various weapons and like siege automata or stuff using firepower. Yeah, they're fun. They've got a lot going on between them.
It definitely seems so. I really like their design. If I had to rate them out of 10, I'd give them a, like, same as you, I give them an 8. They are very versatile.
Yes, indeed. Now, who's next?
The next on the list is our dungeon master's favourite monster, and that would be the gibbering mouther. Or is it gibbering? I can never tell.
I think it's gibbering.
Well, that's what we'll go with
It
for
doesn't
now.
matter. Yeah.
Gibbering mouthers are created through dark magics, foul sorcery. They're also noted and said to have been the most wicked and depraved of all creatures created via such means. I mean, if you just take a look at
Yeah,
one, you
no.
can clearly see why.
Yeah, no funny little apex predator owlbears here. You have an absolute horror of warping flesh and teeth and eyes and all things bad.
They used to be like actual people or animals, and the spell has turned their body and flesh into a liquid. As you know, it has a never-ending madness and consuming hunger to grow bigger and get more mouths and eyes.
And like the name says, they gibber.
They do. They like to yap, and that yapping deals psychic damage.
Yeah, there's whispers of madness going into your brain, screams of the anguish. Who knows? Oh, the DM knows because that would be the person running it.
Indeed. And much like the Azer, surprisingly, they're only CR2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, though they, like all creatures that can be modified, I mean, in a fairly recent campaign, our Dungeon Master beefed up a gibbering mouther to a gargantuan mass that kept flinging stuff at us because he's got a thing where he tries to include a gibbering mouther in every single campaign he runs.
I mean, understandable. It's his favorite monster, and it is a very cool concept. That entire fight was really fun, even though it looked like it was going very bad at the end there.
I mean, good old Stream. If you know him, then good. You've been listening to these outtakes. Hitting it, I believe he hit it with a bit very effective cone of cold.
I did. It took it out in, I think it was half its health in one.
Yeah,
Very good. That was the first time like I actually got into a fight with the new stream. So good to know that worked.
yeah. But yeah, so back on topic, the gibbering mouther. Yeah, it's a fun creature. Now, I believe, didn't you have a quote from Ethan on his opinions on the topic?
I do. It's in the top right if you're watching the YouTube video, but I'll read it out anyway. He says, "They're great for someone who needs to provide a disgusting description. They have a great apocalyptic feel and can be scaled up to provide harder encounters because the toolkit is malleable. Every long campaign I have ever ran has featured one because they're an awesome environmental story piece. They can work as a standalone creature or a minion, intelligent or stupid. Gibbering Mouthers are the GOAT."
Yeah, that definitely sounds like him.
But I will say, one thing I did learn while reading up on it in my monster manual is that they are not slowed down by swimming, quicksand, or any sort of type of difficult terrain. They could just move through it as if it weren't there.
That's sort of yucky. Just blob inside of liquid.
Yeah,
Just, imagine this swimming at you at a rapid pace.
it's worse because what if you're running and you get stuck in quicksand? And you think, well, at least it'll slow it down and stop it. Nope, it's still coming for you.
No, it's coming. It's gonna absorb you.
It's going to eat you, melt your flesh down, and add a new set of mouth and eyes. I would rate the
Yeah,
Gibbering Mouther a 9 out of 10. I really do like it. It's very good. I've put
yeah,
one in several campaigns as well.
yeah. They are a weird abomination, and they're good and versatile. I'll agree with that 9.
Hell yeah. Moving on to the next creature, it's Reese or Muds. And he likes the Balgura.
Yes, the big monkey demon.
Balguras are demons. Each demon represents a certain type of evil in humanity. They represent savagery and brutality specifically.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. They are just big apes built like bricks with massive punchy hands and big angry faces.
They are just under 8 foot tall and weigh around 650 pounds. The worst part is they like to gather up in packs and track down stronger opponents.
Oh, so we're approaching 100 gorillas versus I don't know, a Tiamat.
Actually, he wanted me
Yeah.
to include the question, who would you think would win? One Balgura or 100 commoners?
Well, since I assume they're demons, so they probably have resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. I would definitely say the Bargura.
He actually doesn't.
Oh, that's nice of him. Oh, then yeah, maybe. But yeah, these guys they just epitomize brutality and bloodshed and violence.
Yeah, they also like to tear their prey limb from limb and keep certain parts of them as trophies to adorn their territories, which they make.
Yeah, so you can have a Balgura den as quite an interesting location to encounter. Yeah, I mean, you see, oh, there's a rib cage hanging from the ceiling. Wonder who put that there. Oh, hey, there's this pile of corpses over there. We should scavenge it for loot. Oh no, that's its bed.
It's also really good if you have an alchemist in the party. Some people like to use monster parts in their potions, so that'd be a good way to get some stronger tier monster parts early on because they like to track down strong opponents.
Yeah, so they'll just hoard things of corpses of things they've killed, but not necessarily intelligently. I mean, because they are big raging brutes, but
Dumb as
yeah, see
dirt.
what you can pick up while you're there.
One thing I found out recently while looking through the monster manual was that demonologists categorize demons through levels 1 and 6 to show their strength and danger. Balguras are
Oh,
only level 1, funnily enough.
damn. Some sort of challenge rating or something.
Well, their CR is actually 5.
Oh, that's not one. That's not one at all.
It puts, yeah, them being level 1 at the chart puts them under Kazmis and Hezrus, which are other types of demons. I remember using a Balgura in a campaign once. It didn't end well for him.
Oh yeah, isn't that the same one that we fought? The same Eberron one we fought the Oni?
It is the very same. Um,
Yeah.
I won't tell you what happened to it. It was quite graphic.
Oh yes, I remember now. Ooh,
Yeah, I don't think we
was
can
it
explain
some?
what happened to it.
Yeah. Um, just think of it in vagaries similar to the Ant-Man versus Thanos theory.
Oh yeah. But yes, Bulgur is a very fun challenge to throw at your players, especially if you're doing stuff with demons. If your players become quite strong, it's probably going to attract a herd of these things, which is also another really fun encounter you could do.
But yes, big monkey, very good
There's not much else to really say about them. They are very, simple at what they do, and they're good at doing it.
indeed. Now, shall we move on to our final creature of the evening?
The final creature of the evening is Finn's favourite monster, and that would just so happen to be a cloud giant. I
What?
didn't know much about these until he told me they were his favourites. I had to read up on them for this slides, and honestly, I think they're really cool. I'm coming around on them.
Right, well, fill us in.
Well, to start with, most giants are plunderers. They like to steal and loot. These guys, however, are lazy. Because they, live in the clouds, they believe themselves above everyone else, and they get other giants weaker than them to go hunting for them.
Oh, just sitting there. All right, you peasant, go get me that goat. I want that goat. Give me that goat.
They don't actually want food and stuff like that, which is the weird bit. They want money and jewels and treasures, because the cloud giant who has the most of those is the highest in the hierarchy.
I mean, yeah, I suppose the higher thinking giants like stone and fire, I believe, do tend to like the hoarding of resources.
That they do, but for different reasons. The fire giants like to make things, and the stone giants, I'm actually not sure about them, but
I think they like, if I remember correctly, they're about making art and stuff
yeah,
and having pretty gemstones and things. Now, that's off the top of my head, though. I very well might be wrong.
you might be right. But another thing about cloud giants is that they watch down on humanity. They watch their struggles and their plights as a form of entertainment.
Oh. Oh, look there at Jimmy. He's getting divorced.
Oh, get out the popcorn! That's a right old time.
Look, I'm going to drop a boulder on him.
Surely this can't get worse, splat.
Yeah.
Uh, Cloud giants are the second tallest of their kind, standing at a whopping 24 feet tall.
Oh, God, that's like three Balguras.
It is. And they are also the second strongest stat block of giants, being tied with fire giants and both of them being below storm giants.
Yeah, I wonder if they have problems with storm giants because they sort of share a domain.
They do. However, from what I was reading, the cloud giants do believe themselves better than the storm giants.
Oh, oh, that is maybe foolish. Yeah, this is the sort of giant you would find atop a beanstalk.
Oh, absolutely.
This is yeah. This would be a fun if you wanted to go for that sort of fairy tale encounter. This could be a fun thing to find at the end. You break into his house and steal all his stuff.
The cloud giant is CR9, which is definitely good for much later things or good for a siege. Not sure why they'd be sieging, but
Yeah, the in fact I think that makes it the highest CL monster we've had on this list.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Which means all of these are fairly low, and you could use them in your games.
Damn right. One thing that I do find terrifying about cloud giants is that they have innate spellcasting. One of these is fly.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense based on their domain, but yeah, that's a scary prospect. Just imagine a house-ish, no, probably not house, but this massive guy just zooming around above you. He just comes down and he drops a boulder on your head and he flies off after you've just got divorced.
Other such spells include Detect Magic, Fog Cloud, Gaseous Form, Misty Step, and Telekinesis.
Oh, I was just thinking cloud, 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 checking out the things they're hoarding. Oh, now he's just got brain powers.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but I kind of like it. But with that, that's all there is to really say on Cloud Giants. Bit of a short one this time, but with that, we're coming to a close. It's time for the outro.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thank you for having me round.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for watching as usual, everyone. Feel free to message us on Instagram at TWODNDpodcast. That is TWODNDpodcast. You can also contact us through the YouTube comment section. We try to get round to those as much as we can. All of our other social media also exists under the same username. You can find us on TikTok, Twitter/X. We have a Reddit, but don't go there. We're also on other platforms such as Spotify, and are we on Amazon?
Yeah, we're on Amazon/Audible. We're not on an Apple, unfortunately. I'll fix that eventually, I swear.
We'll get around to it. But with all that said, I'm really excited to see what you leave in the comments for us and what your favorite monsters are. Thank you all very much for watching. This is bye-bye from me and bye-bye from Jay, and we'll see you next time in episode 24.
Oh, it's a doozy. I'll let you know that in advance. Bye.
Bye-bye!